Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 2024 Hart Cross Country Media Day. I'm your host, Hart correspondent Rich Linden, as we take a look at all 13 Hart Cross Country programs. Next up, Grandview University. Head coach Nicole Mundy and two outstanding student athletes, Faith Neely and Connor Keller. Athletes and coach, how you doing today? How is Des Moines handling you?
We're doing great. It's a beautiful day. We're getting through this heat wave and ready to keep moving forward.
Awesome. Well, you know what, Coach, you brought this up, and I've heard this throughout Media Day today. So I'm going to kick this to both my student athletes and Faith and Connor. Either one of you can jump in. How do you handle cross country? The season is so long that you're starting in 90-degree weather with 60% humidity. Then you're going to end up with maybe 50 degrees with heavy winds, rain, and then cold. How do you mentally prepare for that? How do you adjust your training throughout the season?
It pretty much just goes based off of every day. So if it's like raining really hard or it's lightning or anything, we'll train on the treadmills. But most of the time, we just go out and have to make sure that we don't do anything that's going to get us hurt. So we stretch pretty well when it gets cold, and we make sure that we're drinking water when it's hot, and just mentally preparing to have to go out into the heat and run.
And
Yeah.
this week, we've had morning practice all week just because of the heat wave that came through. So just doing that instead of running at 4 o'clock in the afternoon when the peak of the heat, when we normally would have practice, really helps us. And then with the weather changing so much, it's almost like we're running different seasons. So it's kind of like not so draining on our mentality because we're not running in the 100-degree heat all season long.
That's true. When that heat wave breaks, I bet it's like, yes, a nice relief. So, Coach, we talked to you year one as head coach for both cross country programs. How excited are you about these Viking squads? And tell us a little bit about the men's and women's program right now.
I am so excited for this to be year one. I feel like last year was my little warm up period, and Coach Joseph is my mentor, and he's helped me a lot. And going into the season, the men's and women's team, we have a lot of great leaders. You're looking at two of them right now, and they have helped me out tremendously already this season. I can trust that when when I don't have eyes on all of my athletes, that they're helping me guide them, and just knowing that I have great leaders knows that the season is going to be even better than last year. And we have a lot of development to do in this program, which makes it exciting because we might not look intimidating at first, but we are going to come out of nowhere towards the middle to end of the season.
Love it. You're going to knock some people out. Not going to be looking for Grandview, huh? So, Faith, let's talk to you for a second. Where are you from, first of all? And how did you fall in love? When did you first start running cross country? And what made you fall in love with this sport?
So I'm from Bonaparte, Iowa. I went to Van Buren County High School. So it's kind of funny the way that I started running. In seventh grade, my parents were like, "Hey, if you want to play basketball," because I absolutely love basketball. Basketball was my sport. And they're like, "Hey, if you want to play basketball, like you have to choose to do a fall sport." So it was either volleyball or cross country. And my older sister ran cross country, so I was like, "Oh, I'll run cross country." And in seventh grade, I didn't take it too serious. It was kind of like, "Oh, I'm doing this so I can play basketball." And then in eighth grade, I really started to fall in love with it, and I started to actually transform my times and start to actually compete. I think eighth grade year, I was our conference champion. And then my senior year was when everything just really turned around. Or not my senior year, my freshman year was when everything turned around for me. I went into our district's meet and I wasn't expected to make it to state or anything like that. And I just had like the meet of my life that day, and I qualified for state. And that's when I was like, "Hey, I'm actually kind of good at this. Like maybe I should, maybe I should continue doing what I'm doing and try to do that." And so then I became my high school's first four-time state qualifier.
Faith, that's crazy. You started running because your parents are like, you need to do a fall sport. And now you are a college student athlete in cross country. That's nuts. Connor, what about you? What about you? Where are you from? And what do you love so much about cross country?
I'm from Irwin, Iowa. Went to small 1A school, IK in Manning. Story is actually very similar to Faith's. I started out just running because I had to do something to play basketball, and I ran seventh grade year. I was like not really liking it because it was always hot when we were running, and I didn't feel like I was running very good. And then we got to like eighth grade year, and the upperclassmen at the high school, they really like started talking to me, getting me more involved in the team and everything. And I just really fell in love with the team aspect of everything and how like close the team was all the time. So then I just started like after those seniors left, I was like, that's kind of how I want to be like on this team. I want to be one of those leaders that gets everybody involved. So then I just started like texting all the freshmen and getting them all introduced to the team and bringing them to practice and stuff. And I just really kind of had a standout year my sophomore year. And then from there, it was just, I was going. And then coming here, I wasn't really sure I wanted to run, but then they reached out to me and I met with the team and I was like, this seems like somewhere where I would want to be. So then,
Sweet.
then I decided to come here.
I hear this theme over and over again. It's crazy because cross country, when you first think about it, it's an individual sport, but athletes say there's such a close knit bond on teams, and it's just family more than maybe some other sports. But also at the same time, you don't have a standard, field or whatever. You're running on all elements, all courses. So, Connor, what's some of your favorite? What was your favorite type of course to run on? Do you have a favorite type?
I don't like courses that have a lot of hills because my legs get tired, but um, I like to have a couple of hills because I like to use the downhills. But
Right on.
basically, I like a cooler course, fairly flat, and then I don't want to be running in a straight line for a long time. It gets boring. So really,
Yeah. What about you, Faith?
I like courses that are kind of like they're kind of like a trail, like in the woods or something like that. I don't mind the hills so much. I don't want ginormous hills in my course, but I do like having the hills because it gives me something to push up, and then I can relax down after, and can kind of help propel my pace that way.
And just mentally get on. I like this so much. Well, Coach, you're hosting the Grandview Invitational on September 21st. Tell us a little bit about that course that you'll be running on.
Yes, that will be at DMAC. That's a community college here in Des Moines. That is flat with a little bit of rolling hills in the back. It's mainly grass. There's mixed reviews about liking it or not liking it. I think it depends on where your program comes from and where your program trains. Um, it will be a 6K for the women and an 8K for the men.
Wow. Let me ask the athletes, this whole extension from a 5K to a 6K, how's that new distance? How's that affecting you mentally? And how do the athletes, do they love it or do they hate it? I'll kick it to Faith first.
So when I first heard the news that they were extending the 5K to the 6K, I wasn't super happy about it. I was like, I like my 5K distance. But then when I finally ran my first 6K last season, it was the best race that I had last year. And I started to kind of like it more than the 6K or the 5K actually.
Yeah. And what about you, Connor? Do you like those long distances?
I'm more of a middle distance guy for like track and stuff. So running an 8K is a little bit long for me, but I enjoy running it. I mean, the course that we run on for our home meet, those hills, they get bad towards the end, but most of the time, it's not a bad course.
Right. And the men have run 8Ks. I mean, that's been standard for a long time now. So hopefully they're not going to extend that anytime soon. That's long enough, right? So
Yeah.
quick question for the two of you. Do either one of you have a favorite like post-race meal or snack? You're finished, the race is done, you've recovered. You have a favorite little treat?
Applesauce is my go-to after a
Applesauce.
race. Applesauce is great. And then chocolate milk and applesauce.
What about you, Faith?
I kind of like two different things. Kind of just depends on how hot it was that day. A lot of times I just like to eat a little bag of chips or something crunchy after. And then if I don't have chips, then I like a little peanut butter and banana sandwich.
Okay. Peanut butter and banana. I love that. All right, Coach, you talked about the squad, how you're starting, sneaky, quiet, but you have big expectations. So tell us what you want the squad to look at and look like by the time you hit Hart Conference Championship. What are we going to see?
I would like our team to look healthy by the end of the year. We have a smaller roster, so it's something that we can have more control over, and we just want to be healthy. That way, the small amount of people that we do have on the team, we can have towing that line come the meet before conference and conference, so we can all be a full team coming up to our last meet, going into that national time frame.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I loved talking to all of you today. I'm super excited. I love cross country, even though I'm not a runner. But it fascinates me. It blows my mind. I have great admiration. So thanks for being here today. Look forward to seeing the Vikings as they climb through and crank it all the way up to the Hart Championship. Thanks.